Hey, what's good with the YouTube with Convicts Perspective? It's your boy Big Flacco. Like Rojo said yesterday, I'm coming through, sliding through, smashing and dashing with what? Little bit of energy, man. Man, we got a crazy topic, man. We're gonna try to explore different avenues with you guys, man. By the people, for the people. And what we got here today is female CEOs who got their cheeks busted. We got some true accounts, some true stories, man. We're gonna get into, man, and we're gonna start with Rojo first, man, as he has an interesting scenario that happened over there in DVI. I have a story about DVI as well.
All right, man. I'm in the hole. Still validated. This is pre-end of hostility stuff. I'm validated. I'm sitting in L-Wing, first tier, very front. And I'm sellies with this dude, Green Eyes, out of Stockton. Cool dude, Louis Matino. Shout out to Louis Matino, man. I don't know where you are. You got quite a bit of time left. Send mine. So there were some Crips next door. And they had it really, really good with all the African-American correctional staff. I don't really know how. You know what I mean? There was a black sergeant, a man that used to bring them Newports all the time, and he was a straight asshole. But to them, there was an exception. Anyway, there was a young, short, dark-skinned, really thick, chubby, we'll call her chubby, female correctional officer that used to, man, I don't know how she knew these dudes, but she was real cool with them. A lot of times at night, 10:30, 11 o'clock, if I remember correct, she popped their door. Remember, we're in the hole. You got to cuff up every time you come out, shower, yard, medical visit, no matter what. You're stripping down, cuffing out. She'd rack their door next door, and I'd watch underneath. If you've ever been to Tracy, you can see a little bit out of the door. So I'd watch, she'd rack the door. She'd go in there. And me and my celly, we'd be in the vent trying to see what was going on. And what was going on is one, if not both, I'm assuming one, because I'm figuring one dude probably pulled her and whatnot. But he was in there taking those down, man. At least 6, 7 times while I was there that I caught. You know what I mean? There was no doubt about it. There was no, I'm guessing, there was none of that. He was in there. You heard smacking and moaning and
Man, they were hey, bro, hey,
misses and I'm in thumbs and all that stuff, man.
They was tag teaming that shit, bro. It wasn't no
I
single
can't say that bro. For sure. I don't know that for sure, but I know one of them was in there bashing that shit at least 5, 6, 7 times that I knew of. Like they were there before me, because I was in the very back by the other end of the building, and they moved us up front. And I don't know how long it was going on, but them 2 Crips, dude, they were out of Stockton. I don't want to say their names, but they had it real, real good with every African American CO in that place, and real good with her. They one of them was beating that shit up. There's no doubt about it. Violently. You know what I'm saying? He was manhandling that shit, bro.
Oh wow.
You know? And I don't know. Like, see, at night, like when you're in the hole, you can't really tell what's going on because you have limited view. And the way that wing is designed, I could only see maybe 4 cells down to the wall. Because when you come in right there, there's a wall. So you really can't see how many other staff are there, if there's another staff in the office, if there's 2 more staff, if she's the only one, I don't know. I'm sure that they have to have at least 2, but you can't really tell what's going on from your angle, the way that them cells are set up in that particular building. I don't know if it's the same because that's the only wing I've been in there. But he was violently assaulting that woman's genitalia.
Wow. You know what I mean? Genitalia. You know, it kind of goes back to a story that Sundown tells in his book, man. And we got him asking permission to use it, man. And so there was this correctional officer that worked in DVI back in the 70s, and used to have dealings with it. Her husband was a drug addict out there in the streets, and used to do a lot of dealings with an NF member named Pretty T. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of Pretty T. I think at one time he was a captain, if I'm not mistaken. And because of their connections out there in the streets, you know, this correctional officer, her husband was like a little bi, used to like to watch his wife get plugged. You know what I mean? They were on into all that freaky deaky stuff, right? So they ended up having a pipeline to where he was getting his D out there in the streets. From my understanding, I could be a little bit wrong with this drug, but it's somewhere along these lines where he was getting D out there in the streets. She was bringing some of the dope in, and then the NF member would go and pick it up, banger, and that's it. It was just a thing that continued to happen. Now, I believe whoever was doing this, I want to say it was Pretty T that was ended up that was plugging her, that was getting the dope and plugging her. He ends up going into the hole. And what ends up happening from there is Sundown fills that position. So Sundown starts picking up the D from her, and the next thing you know, she's showing that hairy bush, and he's just all on it, man. You know what I'm saying? And Sundown even was concerned for a minute, like, you know, he didn't understand. I think if I'm mistakenly right, he was concerned, like, okay, like, I hope there's no issue with me doing this. You know what I mean? But it all ended up working good, man. But you know, I've heard about correctional officers getting their cheeks busted. I've tried to pull COs before, man. We had one in Solano we used to call Miss Vivica because back in the day she looked like Vivica Fox, bro, straight up, man. But it never seemed to work for me, man. The only time I ever had any action was I was down south in San Luis Obispo in the hole, and there was a female sergeant. And she used to take me to the shower, and she used to literally sit there and watch me as I showered, man. And of course, you know me, man. I'm trying to fucking put on a show in there. You know what I mean? This is the only action I've had in about 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? But other than that, man, I've heard about it. I've heard of individuals pulling females, even getting married to them later on. I believe Sundown got married to one. I know a couple other people personally. I won't throw their names out, but they were able to pull females, you know, in the county jail, prison, even in some other scenarios as well, man. But I've never, ever personally been able to peel one back.
Yeah, you know, I never tried because, for one, it was always taboo to even speak to them as far as, you know, the places I was at, unless it was a professional dealing. Hey, I need some toilet paper. What time are you going to pass out mail? Can I get a 602? What's up with canteen? Things of that nature. You know what I mean? Can I get my razor? We weren't allowed to interact with them on any type of personal level whatsoever. Now, you know, when I've been in charge of places, county jails, Quentin, wherever, you know, C10, you know, the places where I had ultimate control, I still never really crossed those boundaries. In the county jail, I've spoken more freely with staff, male and female, you know, because it's my facility. I'll run it how I see fit, and I'm not giving them any information. I know that. I didn't do the whole, you know, buddy system when, you know, one of the homies had to go talk to the police. Hey, go talk to the police, bro. You know what I mean? Because my philosophy was, if you're going to provide any kind of assistance to anybody, you're going to do it. There's going to be no stopping it. My thing was to let the homies do what they felt like they needed to do and give them that trust as good homies. They have no reason to be blanketed, you know, their privacy invaded. That was the way I did things, bro. That's me personally. You know, when I was in other places where the rules were different and I had to follow them, I followed them, of course. But I wasn't with all that extra snooping. You know what I mean? But you know, while I developed a couple relationships that were more than inmate versus staff, where it was more like, you know, damn near more like an associate than a power position of whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. I still never took it past certain boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, I would get tobacco, you know what I mean? Things of that nature from police. You know, I've used cell phones in the county jail and even once in prison, even before cell phones were prevalent. But as far as females, man, I never had any kind of personal interactions with them like that. The closest thing being would be the, you know, the kind of hornier ones, you know, that would, you know, how you go to the shower in Quentin, you know, they don't got to stand right there and stare at you. You know what I mean? But they do, you know, man, you've talked about that. You've had that as well, where, you know, there was a couple COs that would just stand there the whole time and watch you clean yourself. You know what I mean? To the point where, you know, they're thinking nasty stuff. You know what I'm saying? For lack of a better way.
You never got a chance to bust no cheeks, man. You ever seen that television? You ever seen that television show Oz?
Yeah.
that one correctional officer, what was her name? Hal? Oh, she was busting it. She was getting her cheeks busted by every inmate, man.
Yeah.
Every inmate, man.
Took down. And it happens, man. I hear a lot of stories, bro. The brothers, they're on that shit. They're trying to peel everything and trying to spit game and all day long. That's what they do, whether it's welcome or not. They don't give a shit. But we've always operated a little different, which makes it harder. Okay, speaking just of busting cheeks, whatever. But you know, the restrictions that the lack of more than just professional conversation has, it kind of hurts you. You know what I mean? Because man, how are you going to talk a guard into doing something for you when you can't even talk to them on any kind of basis? You know, so it's always real hard for homies to bust cheeks, get them to smuggle. You know what I'm saying? Rules are going to be bent for certain people always. That's just how it is. It's never going to change. So some people are able to do it while others, man, if you even ask them a personal question, you're going to be writing an essay or getting punched in the face or something. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, when I was in the Texas Youth Commission, man, there was a lady, and I know she passed away. So her name was Bradford. And she was carrying on like damn near a full-blown romantic relationship with one of the white dudes out of Baytown. I think he was out of Baytown, right part of Houston. Man, they used to be just sitting right next to each other in the day room and holding hands. And man, it was like, wow.
There was a counselor in the Boys Ranch, man, at James Boys Ranch named Obeda. She was doing the same shit. She ended up getting arrested for it, man. Literally, man. So like that stuff's not new, man. I mean, even though you think of the unthinkable, like how does that happen? It still happens. You know what I mean? It's just you know, you had that one. Who was that one case, man, of that correction officer in Fresno recently too?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They just got busted with all that, helping
The
inmates out.
one that was good looking.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, this is nothing new. It does happen, man. It's just, I've heard of rumors. I hear people talk, and you never know how serious. I heard like in places like McFarland on these level 1 yards. You know what I mean? What they used to call them, CCFs back in the days?
Oh no, those aren't even 1 yards. Those are like placements, damn near.
They're like private
correctional facilities. Yeah, bro. Those are. Yeah, I guess they'd be level 1 because that's the lowest level there is. But I mean, I don't know who gets to go to them, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you. Like, I couldn't even go to, when I first went to the pen, I had 17 points. I was able to go to fire camp and shit, whatever. And I stayed all the way on fire camp until I had like 40 points, bro. And then finally they were like, man, you're going to 3 yard, motherfucker. You know what I mean? They got tired of fucking with me. But I never understood how them fools would get them CCFs, man. But I'm sure the action, the less restrictive the environment, the more action. I mean, that's just how it is, you know, and that goes for everything, you know.
Oh, they have free staff doing the same thing, man. You know what I mean? You know, medical, all that stuff, man. And you know, there's even, man, I'm not even going to go there, man, but there's even times where people have done certain things just to get what they can. I mean, from certain people that like those with the same equipment in there, I've heard. You know what I mean? Believe it or not, that kind of shit goes on too. You know what I mean? I think there's one that had a video too that talked about, you know what I mean? His celly was giving screenshots, man, just to get a phone, to get a cell phone in there. You know what I mean? Weird stuff like that. Like, there's weird people out there, man. So just because you're in a environment that's secure like this doesn't mean that you're not going to run into people that have some sugar in their tank or weird or into some weird stuff, man. They're not going to let those boundaries stop them, man. It's happened for years, man.
Hey, you know what? When I was on the 3 yard in Susanville, man, I was real cool with this BGF cat, man, named Jamal Davis out of Oakland. He's from West Oakland. BGF, and he was still active. You know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of them around, but he was one. And we used to lift weights and stuff, and we talk and shit. One of the hustles that the brothers were doing in there, you know, and it was just a hustle. I'm not trying to insinuate any of these fools were gay or nothing like that, but they found a place that they could write to gay dudes on the streets, and they'd be knocking down gay dudes through the mail, having them sending mad bread, bro. You know what I mean? I don't know what the letters would say. I'm sure.
Hey, they had
those. There was the whole community, bro. Like, real talk, there was a whole community of people on the outside.
No, that's
gay men that were getting letters, and they were paying, bro.
Hey, that happened to the homeboy in the shoe, man, that was next to me. He put himself on one of those sites. He was doing live, and he put females are friends. Next, you know, he's getting letters from a guy that's in a foreign country that's sending him money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said, you know what I mean? He goes, what do you? I go, what do you guys talk about? He goes, we just have conversation. I go, he's just sending you money. I go, to each his own. You know what I mean? I guess get your hustle on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was. I'm not even gonna put his name out there because he was a Southsider, man. But he was a Southsider that was pretty good within the shoe. And when he told me the story, man, I almost fell over laughing. Like, bro, I'm like, man, bro, he probably wants you to send him certain pictures, bro. I used to give him a hard time, man. Every time I seen him, I knew what we were talking about. So I'd make little lugs like, hey, did that homegirl write you? In front of his homeboys. And he, you know what I mean? And all his homeboys would look at him like, and he'd look at me, I got to do my routine out real quick. You know what I mean? All right, do your thing, bro. But I knew it was kind of comical, man.
You're all making it, he's all uncomfortable, like,
yeah, he's like,
I hope he doesn't say nothing else.
You know, but nah, I've seen little homeboys try to get their pool on, get their little, you know, try to work female seals thinking they're going to get action, man. And you never know. I guess it could happen. It just never happened to me. You know what I mean? The most action I got, man, is I had one just staring at me for like the whole time I was showering. And I thought it was real important with that. To me, that was like, after being in there for 3-4 years, man, it got me a little bit excited, man. But you know what I mean? Hey.
You thought you were going to be handling something through the bars.
No, hey, bro, I'm not going to lie. I like females in a correctional officer uniform. There's something about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're always short and thick though, for some reason. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how it is when they get out of their uniform, if it looks something totally different, but in the uniform, they look all right.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man, I read this story recently, a couple months ago, about a gentleman that was supposedly a leader in the DC Blacks. He's locked up like in Baltimore, Maryland. Man, he had like 4 correctional officers pregnant at the same time while he was locked up.
Oh,
4 different ones in the same institution, bro. Now, that was a stone cold gangster right there, bro. He was macking extra hard. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if they're not doing background checks, you know what I'm saying? But if you got 4 at the same time pregnant, and with allegations of many others, it's like, how do you even pull that off? You know, that's a trip, man. You know, hey, maybe he's got mouthpiece, maybe he's got donk piece. I don't know what the situation is, but that's a real story. You guys can look it up, man. An inmate gets 4 correctional officers pregnant at the same time, and it'll pop up, man. But it's like, bro, it's like, okay, if you got the best mouthpiece in the world, you're paying whatever the case might be, you would think other staff would snitch. Like, hey, this lady, that lady, this lady's all going. I don't know how you could get away with that much activity in prison. You know, I don't think you could do it in California. Maybe their jails are set up different. I don't know, but 4 at the same time, it's not happening on a level 3 or level 4 in California. You know, I don't
agree.
Yeah, maybe 1. You might just the way these 180s and 360s and all this, the way they're designed, bro. It's just not.
You could pull them to do favors, and maybe link up with them out there on the streets, maybe something like that. But I don't. You know what I mean? I think we're past that time frame where you can do things nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Aztec, it's hit and miss because a lot of times if there were, you know what I mean? Because usually that bar lock's about 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? So that's the whole thing. There's not a lot of time, wiggle room to be able to do anything in the shoe or in that sake. County jails, I can see it happen a little bit more because a lot of times they're left by themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know the county jail that I'm most familiar with being Martinez and Contra Costa. I mean, they didn't even have cameras, dude, until really recently. You know what I mean? So throughout the whole 90s and stuff, man, there wasn't no cameras in there. And at night there'd only be 1 deputy, and a lot of times it'd be a woman. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it could happen in the county jails and stuff like that. I don't know about nowadays. I haven't been to jail in a long time, you know, so I don't know how much things have changed, man, but it's not an easy feat to pull off because, for one, other inmates, they're going to get jealous because they're not getting no action. They're going to drop kites. That's just how it is. You know, everybody thinks, oh, only only 1 out of 500 inmates is telling. No, it's more than that. I promise. You know what I mean? I told my story about how I got 13 confidential information disclosure forms on the same day once. You know what I mean? So to be able to pull it off is an accomplishment. Like the older prisons, level ones, level twos, county jails. Yeah, I see it, man. But you know, I've never witnessed it with my eyes. I've heard that one situation, but
What was going on in your mind when that was happening, bro? I mean,
just like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, hey, more power to you. You know, hey, good for you. But my main thing was like, what's gonna happen if another CO comes down the tier and just happens to pop in? You know, people come in and out all the time. It ain't like everything's ever locked. It ain't like everything's always announced, especially in an older prison like Tracy. Man, they'll just come in and, oh, where's such and such? Oh, let me go walk around. Oh shit, she's getting took down from the back. You know, it's like, you know, I wasn't hoping that that would happen, but at the same time, it's like, man,
hey,
that would
bro,
be crazy.
were you a little jealous, wishing it was you?
No, she was kind of disgusting to me personally. You know, like it wasn't nothing that I personally want to be involved with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was just a trip, bro. It was just a trip. Like, goddamn, this it happens. You know, and I've done 14 years, and that's the only time I know for sure that somebody was just, and it just happened to be right next door. If it was 3 cells down, I'd have had no idea. You know what I'm saying? But it just happened to be right in my little vent. And them dudes had mad love, bro. They were like celebrities. I don't know why. They were just regular dudes that weren't, it ain't like they were rappers or, you know, actors or athletes that got busted. They were just some regular Crips from Stockton.
That's kind of a
One of
trip.
them was, at least one of them was doing his damn thing.
Yeah, I've heard, like I said, I've heard a few stories, man, but I've never like, you know what I mean?
I've
Never.
heard tons of smuggling stories and shit. You know, I talk to a lot of people that are locked up right now.
I have some scenarios where we had correction officers where we pulled them on the inside to do favors for us, but I'll save that for another episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this is more about cheeks getting busted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Beating them guts. You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah, like I said, man, that's the one I know for sure. There's a lot that I've suspected that I can't prove, but there were some serious cheeks being busted by some Crips in DVI in 2008, bro. There were some cheeks being hammered, just devastated, obliterated. You know what I mean? It sounded like they were doing machine next to it. It sounded like they were doing, like they were busting down, like, you know what I mean? Just straight up, they were getting hammered. But yeah, that's the only example I really have. It happens, you know what I mean? But yeah, cheeks get busted, bro. There's no doubt about it. Hey, I bet you in Sundown's time there was a lot more cheeks being busted too.
Oh yeah, they had COs bringing them and shit, man, phone calls and you know what I mean, dope. And he married a CO.
Yeah.
She actually quit her job. I believe she quit her job and married him, you know what I mean, for a minute. So that's an interesting story in itself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, we know a couple dudes like that, man, and they're out there, you know. I mean, you do a certain amount of time, you deal with somebody every day. If they're not extremely stuck up or whatever, man, you develop friendships and you know, likes and dislikes naturally. It's part of being a human being. You know what I mean? So it's gonna happen. You know, most of the time it's gonna be, well, wait till you get out or whatever, you know, if they care about their job and pensions and shit like that and they don't want to get no charges. But I mean, you see them all the time now getting busted as well. You know, back in the days, if you talk to them too much, man, they hit you with the over familiarity with staff 115.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know? If they weren't feeling you, if you were like, the brothers used to get it a lot, man, because the brothers stay trying to holler. You know,
they get put in the hole. You know what I mean?
They don't give a shit if they're in Susanville where they know they're racist. They're still trying to holler. You know what I mean? They were some cold G's, bro. You know, they weren't giving up. Crazy times. But yeah, cheeks get busted, bro. There's no doubt.
Female COs cheeks get busted. You know what I mean? For sure. Yeah.
Hey, think about this. Imagine in the women's facility.
Man, I mean,
I think it would happen even more with man on women than in the men's facility, women on men.
yeah, no, without a doubt, man.
You know, because no matter what people say, men are a little less disciplined when it comes to their equipment than women. You know what I'm saying? You know, you get a dude that don't get a lot of action or whatever, and he's in a women's facility and some broad's giving him action. There's only, I don't even know what the percentage would be, but a lot of dudes would fold.
Think about this since we're touching on that. Think about this. We know how corrupt staff were back in the 90s, right? Correctional staff are some of the most corrupt, undermining shit they do. You know what I mean? The scandalous shit that I've experienced from a lot of correctional officers. Can you imagine how much stuff was going on in the 90s and 2000s with correctional officers in a woman facility? You better do this and do that, do this and do that just to get this. You know they were playing that card over and over again. I know it. I guarantee it. A lot of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Using their power to their advantage.
Yeah, fucking cowards.
Yeah. Do you want to be out here in general population, young lady, or do you want to go do your time in the hole? Like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? That's predator stuff, bro. There should be like we talk about excessive use of force and things of that nature. That should be a whole nother ball game right there.
Yeah. I think stuff like that, man, it's a wrap. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised nowadays we hear more about, you know, men's prison getting women than we do hear about dudes getting busted, really.
Yeah, because there's been a few officers that have engaged in the highway patrol officer down south. He was doing some faulty stuff. He was pulling people over and basically fucking, taking what he wanted from them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine how much stuff gets in a prison place. The way that you're treated like less than a human being in there. So your voice is not heard. So when things in a prison facility, no one hears it. You could write a 602, that 602 goes nowhere, gets thrown away. No one cares. Now, I mean, there's been a lot of changes now in the system, but I can just, you know how it was back then, man. I mean, we've faced all type of torment and abuses and all that. We tried to file 602s, you know what I mean? I can only imagine what was going on in those type of places.
Yeah, I'd say in all the time, man, let's just say I filed 20 602s. Let's just call it 20. I've only got responses on 5 or 6 ever. You know what I'm saying? That shit would go in the garbage, bro.
Oh, yeah.
So, we never got it. Okay. I know you didn't, you know, but what can you do about it, really? Try to find the cool staff that you know will turn it in. Good luck. In Pelican Bay, they'd answer him because Pelican Bay is always under so much scrutiny. But like in Quentin, bro.
And they used to hate me because in my 602s, but what I was requesting was a whole investigation by Internal Affairs Division. You know what I mean?
You'd ask for the whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards. That this gets and if I exhaust my state remedy, I could take federal civil action and all this crazy stuff. I used to use all the all the case laws. I used to go shepherdize law cases. I was probably a pain in their fucking ass. They're probably just like, oh,
yeah, yeah, no doubt.
Because that's the thing that people don't realize. Like, in the system, in order for you to file a federal lawsuit, you have to exhaust all state remedy. And so a 602 is considered exhausting your state remedy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to file state lawsuits, but the problem is a lot of times you try to file a state lawsuit, they tell you, why don't you take it down to administration level within the facility first and foremost, because it's a whole different department. So they want you to file a department. What was it? The DOM section. Remember, there was a Title 15, and then there was a Department Operations Manual.
Yeah.
So you had 2 different things. You'd have to file things under the DOM and also under the Title 15. But it wouldn't go nowhere. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine this type of stuff that was going on, man. Like, just, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are hit or miss, man. I mean, imagining even before.
Yeah.
You know, back in the days, it'd really be hit or miss because now there's a little more accountability. There's all kinds of people watching and, you know, all kinds of groups, advocacy groups and stuff like that.
There's not going to be no more cheek busting in there because now on the low, they're going to start having everyone wearing body cameras now. You know what I'm saying? So like there's a lot more accountability on their end. So, and I think I've discussed this, man. I know we're kind of digressing off topics, but man, I hope you guys are watching this long. Issue that's going to happen now is see, that's when you have to pick and choose your battles when you go against administration. You know what I'm saying? Is this really worth it filing this 602 on this issue? Is it really worth it pushing this issue? Because it might become counterproductive. I mean, that's how the waste got taken out. That's how tobacco got taken out, because someone decided to file certain complaints.
Yeah.
It's the courthouse and it becomes an issue. Lawsuits. So, you know, it's the same thing now. People are worried about the abuses and oppression that happen behind the walls. You know what I mean? So what's going to happen now with these cops that have body armors and people reporting them and all that and stuff like that, you're going to have less wiggle room for that action that you want to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're going to be more restrained from helping you because everything's being watched. I remember we had a correction officer that was doing runs for us. You know what I mean? And before he was looking around and he would tell me, he goes, we got to worry about our own content on us. He would literally tell us. And he'd come chop it up at our cells for like 20, 30 minutes sometimes, man. You know, things have changed a little bit more. They kind of, dealing with the correction officers was on a leadership known basis. If you had the proper education or had this proper status and there was someone to really corroborate what you were doing, it wouldn't be an issue. But if you were just a regular guy, it wouldn't be allowed to be talking to no correction officers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it kind of changed a little bit after your time.
You know what all this accountability comes down to too, is just saving money from lawsuits. It's not to help or better or anything like that. It's about limiting the amount of potential liability.
So you have to pick and choose your battles, because if you still want wiggle room to get certain things and certain petty permissions, I guess you can call them, yeah. When you complain too much over frivolous bullshit,
you ain't get nothing.
You ain't got nothing coming, and they're going to change the laws. And so that's why, like, even when I was behind the wall, it's like, okay, if we're going to fight against the system, let's make it over issues that are pressing and needed. Because if we start to press over petty stuff, we're going to have more reprisals by administration based on the fact of some petty issue. You got to pick and choose your battles. People don't realize it all the time.
100%. I agree. Well, that's it. Cheeks busted and a couple other topics, man. But the point is, it happens, goes down.
I never got to bust no cheeks in there, man. I'm kind of upset still about that.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
I'm gonna have to catch a case next week, bro, just to try to see if I can bust some cheeks, bro.
All right, YouTube, man. It's your boy Rojo, Big Flacco, man. We're out of here. We'll holler at y'all later on the live. Have a good rest of your Friday.